We're here to take out the competition. One black pill at a time. The black pills are going down. we're in an underground bunker shisha bar, which is fucking cool, actually. Yeah. Very, very cool place. It's very seedy. Highly recommend it. It's got secret new. Yeah. So if you make some Petersburg, we shall recommend where to go. They said they're going to make it soft. They didn't make it soft. Well, Cole's a very hard man. So here we are in St. Petersburg, down deep in the bunker. Deep in the bunker. This is our final day here. We fly to tomorrow, and ready to take out the competition. Any questions, lads? Feel free. That dodgy Tusk has been banging them Russian dolls 3 at a time like that. Matroskoshka. Yeah, questions coming from that. What it is of Serbia. Take it off. That is incredibly hot. It's literally like a scene out of Apocalypse Now. It's too hot. You get full of that? Yeah. Too hot. Too hot. Yeah. Too harsh or too hot? Our food has the right flavor. We have guns, food, and everything. What's not to like, really? We've got guns, we've got food, we've got shisha. I've got a shisha. Yes, it's very hard. You must have lungs of iron. Got a sushi burrito. So what are we talking about today? This is really just a sort of a final goodbye to Mr. Cole. Not a final goodbye, an au revoir, and just a bit of a recap in terms of where you're up to and everything like that. So we had a final session out there today, didn't we? Which is pretty good. Well, and also, just listen, you'll see in the footage today, this guy was killing it. I was getting blown out. And just go show, some days you go out and you boss it, some days you go and you don't. But I think the key is consistency over time. Not taking on anyone that's representative of that is, at the end of the day, you're casting a big net over cross section of random people. Some days you're just going to be vibing with it more than others. We're just putting it like I wasn't, but it is what it is. So don't get too caught up in the highs and the lows. It all balances itself out over time. How's the volume, by the way, guys? Can you hear? Yeah, let us know about the volume. You guys slayed. Troy slayed. I got blown out like a cheap tampon. Thank you. It's good. It's been burrito. I think I can take this all day long. You charge me around the bar. You could do. All right, let's just flip it around. We'll just show you a little bit of the. Try to give him a tour. I'll give him a quick tour. I'll get it. Exactly what you want in a shisha bar. A very cool spot, right? It's kind of bunker vibes. Very cool. Our new office space for our debriefs. There we go.
bang.
Bloody good, bloody good.
So yeah, final thoughts, lads. Got any questions for Mr. King Cole? This is the final time we'll be seeing him. We'll probably, me and Troy will probably be back in December, which will be cool.
Yeah.
We'll catch up with him then, and we'll kind of mentor him through the process in the meantime.
There's a good chance we can catch up with him in between, though, right? We can get him over live stream.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, that's.
I can do that.
But yeah, any questions you want to ask him live while we're all together in one place? James, you ever get cheated before by your girlfriend? Yes, I did. I got cheated on. That's part of the reason that drove me into this, into this industry. Often people enter it from a position of pain. Usually the driver of human change in any capacity is pain or frustration. It's never positivity, really. So that pain that drives us to do it. There's a girl that I was seeing on and off for a long time. She slept with someone I didn't like. And I think part of it purpose makes it dig into me a bit. But I basically felt helpless. You feel low and you feel like, okay, I want to take control of this circumstances. So I came into this industry, hit it hard, started getting results. Unfortunately, when you come into this, often you come in with a bit of bitterness. So, I probably wasn't the healthiest mindset to come in with. But over time, you learn, okay, it's that whole analogy of you have a bad pizza, right? You don't give up Italian food. So, yeah, it's important to see people as individuals.
Somebody's saying the sound's not very good, and obviously the picture is maybe not as good as usual. We are sitting in an underground bunker.
We'll just speak a bit louder. We'll try and speak louder, guys.
Yeah.
Can you hear us at all? And if you've got any questions, obviously ask away.
Gumbo is saying, outside of Oxford Street, I never see any hot girls walking around London. I've been to other areas.
Hello, Luke. No, he's just a former student, missed out. Absolutely hilarious with his dodgy northern tash. Calling French girls, going, "Oh, where's your baguette?" That's hilarious. Analogies of French women in Oxford Street. It was a good laugh with him. Haven't seen head nor tail of him for a while. Although, if you're still going to Thailand, I will be there in November. So maybe we will keep cross paths there, Mr. Metcalf. We get to see you. What's King Cole looking to achieve between now and December meetup?
I will be focusing mainly on the skill set and focusing mainly on the decreasing the number, like number element of the game, so that I can get more dates, more numbers, and more people in my life that I like.
So the thing is, you're going to be obviously going back to your hometown, which is significantly smaller than it. I know we have covered this already on the stream, but what's your strategy going forward? Because are you going to be going out? You can't realistically be going out and burning it in quite the same way as you have here. So how are you going to sort of take this knowledge into your day-to-day life?
I will be approaching like 3 girls a day minimum, and for 5 days, 5 or 6 days, and at the end of the weekend, I'll be doing dates. Like I'll be putting dates at the weekend, and let's see what happens with that.
Yeah, cool, man. Cool.
Yeah, and I can't agree more. Quality in the UK is laughable compared to EE and Latin America. It's true. I'm not saying don't approach in the UK, because obviously there it's fully open. It's very advanced in terms of where it's at with the kind of the openness of the country. And hopefully it will open up with more tourists and stuff. And it's a great place to train. We all train there. We learn this stuff there, but the beauty of this step up definitely is to start traveling, and you realize how valuable an asset you are from London, and then also cold approaching.
One thing that's interesting is that with these Russian videos and also the videos with COL specifically, a few guys, not many guys, but a few guys have been saying, yeah, well, that's all very well, but you're in Russia. What if you tried to do this in the West? What if you tried to do this in London or the USA, whatever? And for me, the question is irrelevant, because travel is part of the game. Travel is part of the package, part of the lifestyle, right? It's irrelevant. Would any of us get decent results in the USA or in London? Maybe not. But so what? Who cares, right? We're here, and we're here deliberately because of the obvious advantages that this place has. Lots of natural resources, abundance, and also our value is increased when we travel. So for us, the Blackpool guys talk about geomaxing. For us, geomaxing is just common sense, right? There shouldn't be a term for it. It's just common sense. It's a no-brainer, right? So all of this as an objection, oh yeah, but could he do that in, you know, London, or could he do that in New York? Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. It's unimportant. He's here. And everybody watching this could do the same thing. Everybody watching this could come here, or they could go to a different country where their value is going to be significantly higher, and where the responses are going to be significantly better as well.
Yeah, and just to touch on what Troy was saying, there's a brilliant video which kind of summarizes why Russia's a post-feminist society, and why, as a guy, she actually touched on it in the video that the Russian woman was speaking in the video. It's a really good video, but she incidentally touched on the fact that if you come here as a guy, you're very lucky that women outnumber men. So that automatically puts you as a more valuable asset.
Yeah, she's a female Russian academic, I think. Yeah, she's not. This isn't some sort of a dating channel or anything like that. She's more saying it from the female perspective of, oh, it's a bit unfortunate being a female in Russia because there are fewer men, and so there's more competition for guys. Flip that on his head, from the male point of view, obviously that's an advantage in this marketplace.
We have no plans to come to San Francisco anytime soon. So your best bet is email me, info@jamestusk.com, and I'll send you the boot camp schedule. Closest we're going to be in the next few months is Mexico. We're going to be in Mexico in October, Mexico City, and also Monterrey. So lots of options to come and meet us there, or you can come over to Brazil in December, or possibly Colombia in January. Those are the best bets if you want to come and meet us nearer to where you are, or nearer to San Francisco. But no plans to come to San Francisco in the future. I've been there. It's a nice place, but yeah, just no plans.
Why would we travel to a Western country with these Western cities where the odds are going to be significantly back against us, when we could use that time, that energy, and those resources to come somewhere like here, where it's absolutely fantastic?
Is this yours? No, you didn't order something.
No, I ordered.
You sure it's not? You didn't order the ticket?
No, I ordered the sandwich.
Yeah, but I think this is it.
No, this is the burrito.
Oh, okay.
Sushi burrito.
I ordered sandwich.
Yeah. How's this location looking, guys? It feels like it's something out of Pulp Fiction or something, which is why we selected it.
Like a great location.
We're trying to get different kind of interesting locations for you guys. So
how much did you pay for this Panji tattoo? Many rupees and many rubles. But yeah, the thing of the tale is he's actually a Bollywood actor. That's a big surprise.
Troy would do good in San Fran with tight shorts.
But yeah, he makes some. I mean, the obvious point is we don't really want to go to the US. I think been to US is a nice place to travel to, but I don't really like to go back there anytime soon. I've found places like traveling that I prefer: Poland, Brazil, Serbia, Russia.
Russia is fantastic. Russia is such a great country. It's so fantastic. It's so interesting. We're going
to end up doing a Steven Seagal, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're sending our UK passports and getting some Russian passports.
I mean, why go to America and have to put up with a load of rule breakers and all that kind of stuff? I mean, it's just
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I love New York. I love various of the cities there. Got a lot of friends over there, and so on and so forth. And no, we'll doubtless be visiting again, but it's not.
Where's the sandwich? Oh, thank you so much. So how is your new high quality woman marriage going? Oh, you're
Very well, very well. She's out in the street earning some rubles for later. So it's all good.
Does COL have another big city he is going to attempt?
I'll be going to Moscow in next 2 months.
Nice, very.
Any places in Moscow you recommend? Yeah.
We can go through it after this, but no, basically, Tevas. It's a great place, full of history. Troy and Tusk with Slayer in America with your actors. Yeah, I mean, we've both been to the US before. It's not like we're complete novices. I've been to Scottsdale, I've been to San Diego, I've been to Vegas, I've been to. Well, no, it's a cool place, but it's just not. But the world is such a big place, and that's a place that is a real standout for me these days. I just don't bother going back.
I mean, the only thing perhaps we could do more of is go to some of the more, some of the smaller states or the states, you know, like the Love Actually thing. Maybe, you know, go to Georgia, go to Texas, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, it doesn't.
I've been to Austin again. Like, it's a fun place, but it's just not. It's not in my. It doesn't make my top 20,
No.
top 30 places to go. So
Because
it's
also,
time is so limited.
It's also got to be about the fascination of the place as well.
Yeah, and we're more about exploring beaten track places now. Hence why we're going to up to Siberia, some random city there. We're 3 million people, so by no means small, but random for us. There'll be more stuff like that happening. Like we're Tbilisi, capital of Georgia, Batumi Beach. We're going to be exploring Kazakhstan, Armenia, a place like that. Coming back to Russia, we're going to go to Kazan, which is like the Muslim area of Russia, which will be Uzbekistan is also on the list. We just want to be, we're in the stage of our lives where we just want to be exploring more random spots, taking guys along to the journey, obviously involving the dating stuff with it and showing you what's up. But the focus is just exploring interesting places. Because for me, it's far more fun. I mean, one of the first solo trips abroad I did for the dating stuff was Skopje in Macedonia, and that was amazing. I mean, it's not a mainstream place, but it's so fun. Again, you really stand out. Just, you know,
would you like to say hello to the guys in London? Hey, London. What's your name?
Hello.
Hey, nice to see you. Are the hostess in this world class hooker box. No. Oh yeah. No, okay, at the moment, thanks. What else we got questions?
Have you been to Romania? Yes, I didn't really rate it. I've been to Family Mamaia, and Bucharest. I didn't rate all of them, but I will be going to Transylvania, hopefully in December, for a few days, to check it out, see if there are actually vampires living there.
It's kind of interesting just to go to these, as you say, more off the beaten track places. I think. Really, it's, you know, as cool as some of the main global cities are. Really, I think it's interesting, especially for content like this, to take it off the beaten track, go to more unexpected places, and just see what the vibe is there. Because the other thing as well is, in this little corner of the internet, a lot of this discourse, it's all around people that everyone's experience is much the same. You know, you've got blokes from small English towns, you've got guys who haven't travelled at all, haven't really travelled. And it's like, we need to get out and see what's actually happening out there.
If you had to choose a wife, what country would you be from? Okay. Russia? I don't know.
Ireland, because the crack's amazing.
Well, this guy only writes in with cat box on. How would you guys compare girls? The girls in other countries? You mean here? Pretty high run, pretty top three, I must say.
In Russia.
Ask what cities you plan to coaching in the future. Send me an email, send you the full schedule. But basically, next, I'm off to Greece for a bit. Troy is off to Berlin. We'll be linking back up in Tbilisi, 12th to the 18th of August for boot camp, and we'll be going to go to Helsinki as well, 18th and 24th of August. So join us there, or wait till we come to Mexico. Yeah, out in Mexico in October, Mexico City, which would be cool. Views on London being oversaturated is my experience. Best experience they gave me with over 50 days. Is it due to oversaturation in London? Constantly being approached. Yeah, and also just people hanging around the same areas on Oxford Street, like the same old spots, the same old lines. It's boring for them, and it's boring for you. So I heartily recommend start traveling with this stuff. The only real regret I've got from learning stuff is I spent 3-4 years in London not traveling. And in hindsight, it just seems ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, we were saying as well, I mean, is it over in London? Is it very difficult in London these days? It certainly seems to be a lot more difficult than it was. We were speculating yesterday about the various reasons. But, you know, a lot of the things that people in the manosphere and some of the black hole guys say are probably correct, right? Instagram culture, Tinder, plus the way that society has changed. All of these things have had an effect. And certainly London seems to be more tricky than it was some years ago. But the great news again is that hop on a plane and 2 or 3 hours away, and the picture is very, very different. So it's a bit like, you know, we're not campaigning to make women great again or anything like that, or to sort of try to change society, because there's no point in doing that. Right? You know, why not just go where you are more appreciated, or where you can have more fun.
Can you talk a little bit about how massive divide between sexes, Me Too, etc., has affected COL approaching?
Well, again, it's very culturally defined, isn't it? Those things are. I'm not making a value judgment here and saying it's good or bad, but those concerns are less prevalent here than they are in somewhere like London or New York. Yeah. Because the society is different. So a lot of this stuff is very societally based. And, you know, the libertarian view is, if you don't like how things are where you are, then you take yourself out of the picture and you go somewhere else.
Very true. London is not as easy anymore. What's the country that you got the fastest delays? I mean, if you go to places like Scandinavia, very promiscuous culture. Norway, Finland, Sweden, you can do a lot of damage very quickly. Thailand as well. Yeah, that would be my recommendation. Shout out to Troy with the rifle.
Yeah. We need the protection these days.
Any questions? Any final questions for Mr. COL while he's still with us? If you've got anything, far away.
Because we've been shaking up the industry with these live streams. We need the ammo.
Hello, Jordan. Hello. Yeah. Any final questions for Mr. Mr. Colbert? Mr. Cole. Mr. Cole, have you had a successful nightclub game in Russia? Do you ever do any of that?
Yes, but I didn't have from the clubs, but I did the street game after the ending of the club, like around 2 a.m. and decent results.
Gutter game.
What's your ideal 10 out of 10 type? Is it typical blonde hair, blue eye?
Blue eye, not blue eye.
Blue eye.
Blue eye. One blue eye.
How many eyes do you like them to
A
have?
Cyclops. Kingly and I.
Sort of Medusa kind of a.
This, yeah.
What's your ideal type?
I like girls with cute face and big asses and short girls.
Gosh, there's a lot of questions actually for you.
Yeah. It's all being more confident.
Is Cole more confident than before coaching, or the same?
Definitely more. Definitely more. Being with like today when Troy was approaching and James was approaching, I felt fire in my heart to approach. It's just staying with them. It's just amazing.
How many dates did you go on in the end, including yesterday?
Well, yesterday I think it was just one yesterday, so it's like 13. So
13.
like,
That's the same.
excluding the Troy's one.
That was on the video.
Yeah, that was on the video. Other than that,
Is it London that complicates guys? London is complicated for this. Any other countries King Cole wants to game in?
I will be gaming in almost every country. Just give me time.
What's Mr. Cole's mindset? Any tips for confidence? So something we touched on a lot with you, because you seem very, very go for it.
Yeah.
Are there any kind of tips you've got for guys to kind of, I guess, carry on with what they've seen you do, which is fucking go for it and have no kind of hesitation and not give a fuck what the result is?
Well,
How would you say to cultivate that mindset?
Well, first I'll recommend watching James' videos on rejection and his rejection compilation. And before his rejection compilation starts, he talks a bit about it. Like if you are a man, you have to be like talk to the girl you are attracted to. Just go in and just at least give yourself a chance, give her a chance to meet a cool guy.
There's no downside to it, is there?
Yeah.
I mean, I had a few blowouts today, and you still feel better for taking the action. There's no downside to going for it, facing that fear. You know, going and speaking to someone, putting it on the line with someone you trust.
Are you always like that though? In general in life, and maybe not even in approach, but are you just always like, right, I'm just going to go for it, or do you have moments of hesitation and doubt, and how do you get through that?
Like I am 90% like that.
Okay.
10% maybe in some weird situation. Like if there is something at stake, like my education at stake, maybe I'll get a bit nervous, but then I just go back to.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Tusk duo has been wicked on this trip. Hopefully more in the future. You will indeed pay a. Where are you from?
I'm from near Delhi. Will you be hanging out?
Yeah, do you have a wing in your city or not?
Uh,
Or did you just go outside?
I had a wing last year, but now I'll be doing solo.
Okay. Nice.
Solo.
So, Cole, you've set the standard for fresh men from India and from all ethnicities. Mr. Cole should be knighted. Just because he should be. He should see warm-up approach he did.
If the Queen is watching this, Mr. Cole, let's different the week for the New Year's honours list. Bit of techno in the background now.
Cool. Still think the Instagram played an important role in gaming in terms of number closely. Yeah, here Instagram's a big deal. I mean, I definitely recommend sorting out your Instagram to some degree. You have to have it. If you don't, I mean, you could just opt out. But I know it's getting to that stage where I think people just think you're a bit strange.
Yeah.
No Instagram whatsoever. It's like you're hiding something.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone who's in the dating world has Instagram to some degree.
Yeah, it does seem to be the case. And I mean, I do sometimes encounter guys who will say, well, it's, you know, I'm not going to have Instagram, it's feminine, and you should be alpha enough to make the impression without having it, and all this kind of stuff. And I just think, just suck it up, man. Just get one. It's not a big deal. You don't have to be on there 24 hours a day.
Also, don't have
upload
to,
a few pictures.
you don't have to have an amazing profile. You just have to have something. Like,
Yeah,
but
just
some-
something. It's not a big deal. It's, you know, it doesn't mean you have to get sucked into some kind of weird social media vortex where you're, you know, posting stuff 24/7. Just have it so you can have people on there.
Agreed.
It's just very simple. Really.
And no, I have a separate Insta for business and for personal. For obvious reasons. You know, I don't like to cross them over really. Business is business, personal is personal.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mr. Cole, you reckon you'll be as successful going out solo?
I'll be like backing on it, like writing field reports and listening to my audios. I'll be recording audios for myself, and then I'll be like hear them, listening to them again and again, and just going through every specific thing, like what I'm doing wrong and what I can.
Mr. Tusk and Mr. Troy, you guys are providing so much value. This shit is expensive. I guess.
Is it expensive?
What?
What's it saying about expensive?
This shit is this.
What do you mean it's valuable?
I don't know what he means really. I think he's trying to be complimentary though. He's
Yeah.
saying we're providing a lot of value. Even so, you've said a few things about London sucking. Like, get out of London, man. Get on a plane, even if it's temporary. Why don't you just change up your location? I don't understand why people sit there complaining about a city when they can just get on a plane. I mean, it's so easy. You literally just go and book a flight, turn up to the airport, and get on said plane and land, and that's it.
It does. There's a couple of days of that. You talked about this before we came, didn't you? There's a couple of days of sort of
Settling in.
Yeah, you feel a bit,
someone new.
you feel a bit displaced, everything like that. But I mean, and even to some extent, even when we were in Russia, but then we travelled into St. Petersburg, we came to a new location, and you're a little bit like, you know,
You always feel unsettled.
Yeah.
We'll get it in Sochi. 100%.
yeah, we'll get it tomorrow. But
Because it's that overwhelming sensation of fresh stuff. Isn't it?
yeah, and we first got to St. Petersburg, and I thought, oh, you know, is this good? We should have stayed in Moscow, whatever. But then after a day or so, you're like, actually, this is awesome, you know, and the place starts to come alive.
Yeah.
And it's been great here, actually, really, really good.
Plus, you shouldn't you be in Helsinki or Istanbul already?
No, because it was moved because of various pandemic
Yeah,
related.
so just to recap, the schedule moving forward is Blease, me and Troy have a little bit of a break now after this. Well, we've got Sochi and Siberia coming up and then Moscow, but after we leave Russia, early August, we have a little bit of a break and then we rejoin forces 12th to the 18th into Tbilisi and Batumi Beach in Georgia. It's going to be a banger. And then we go from the 18th to 24th to Helsinki. So we've got spaces for both of those. Get in touch if you want to discuss.
Georgia in particular, I think, is quite easy to get into for most people.
Yeah, you don't need anything. I mean, viewers are getting a ton of value for free. Yes, well, feel free to pay us if you feel we're underpaid.
Yeah. money is always appreciated.
Can you explain to us dating circumstances in India?
Explain like in how to do it or what is the situation right now?
I don't know.
Situation right now, I will say like most pandemic situation right now. I have friends there, and the ones who are good, they are getting late. There is no problem. But the thing is, the most girls live with their family, so you have to either book like hotel or you can have your own place. Yeah, that just get a place and just do it again.
Tusk, would you recommend better Odessa, Ukraine, or Russia? 100% Russia. I mean, Ukraine is very easy to get into, so you get loads and loads of people charging around. That's also known as a kind of safe tourist destination.
Yeah,
Especially Odessa. So I highly recommend Russia. I'm not sure why. I mean, it's great, but I'm not sure why more people aren't here doing more of the stuff in Russia than anywhere else. With relation to the delay stuff, I mean, it's the same as me and Troy. We don't tend to go into detail on that stuff. We go no kiss and tell policy. If you might say, oh, that's very avoidable of you, but it's not. It's just we don't tend to discuss that back end online for obvious reasons.
well, we're here to essentially, what are we talking about here? We're talking about social skills. We're talking about how can you improve your confidence, go out there and interact with other human beings, and make connections that way. What anybody's doing in their personal life, it's kind of, apart from anything else, it's very tacky to be banging on about that stuff. I think on a live stream in public.
I mean, I've been asked from day one with this stuff online because guys want to know the gritty details. I've had everything from online to, oh, did you bang up, blah blah blah, all the way up to guys actually emailing me going, I saw you on that day online. Can you send me the behind the scenes footage? I'll pay you, which is just fucking crazy. Really, when you think about it,
Really strange.
Really strange. Again, what we're focusing on here, and what I think the key benefits you guys need to be taking from this is, Cole's attitude and Cole's, going out and smashing it. And a lot of you guys out there, you'll be in a position where there's no, you've seen Cole doing it and making it happen. Right? There's no real excuse for guys sitting at home online now not to be out crushing it as well. I mean, there really isn't. Cole has kind of eliminated with what you've seen over the last week or so any possible excuse any guy online thing that has. So I think it's just about taking that, cherry picking that stuff, and just actually implementing it. And look, we appreciate all the support we get from you guys, but our job is to drive you through the content we put out to actually get out and make a difference. And whenever I get a comment going, oh, I just went out to my first coach day, that's the stuff that gets the fire in the belly going for me. It's not,
Yeah, because fundamentally, right, you guys have seen what Cole's been doing the last couple of days. You've obviously seen what we've been doing, etc. If you rinse and repeat and continue that process, inevitably you are going to get success. Okay, you're going to be in the right place at the right time, and things are going to happen. It's inevitable. You can't be doing good interactions like he's been doing day after day after day, and not end up with some wins. Now you can get into sort of haggling, oh, so how many and blah 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 and all the rest of it. But that's not the important thing here. The important thing is if you're doing the right action, inevitably the results follow. Okay, and that's how it's always been for me. I'm sure that's how it's been for James. That's how it is for everyone. Right? So the important thing in terms of what we're teaching and what we're banging on about here is going out and taking the action in the social realm. Because if you don't get the front bit right, if you can't do what Cole's doing, then the rest of it is immaterial anyway, because you're never going to get it. So you need to be good at this stuff. The rest of it takes care of itself, because if you just keep repeating the process, then those results come.
It does take care of itself. It is a learning process, but it takes care of itself. It leads and the lifeblood of all this stuff. And the reason I've got an accelerator program which teaches you guys to approach and get comfortable with that process is that is the limiting factor of all of this for everyone, right? The guys that put in the serious numbers are the guys that we know that get laid off.
Exactly.
Right? You have to be putting the numbers part. That's what we're meeting up with him for. We were never supposed to even be filming dates. I mean, the fact that Troy went on a date with Mr. Cole and put it online is amazing. And again, it's all above board, so there's no smoke and mirrors to it. It's not secret filming.
Yeah, they knew they were being filmed.
That was never the focus of what this is, right? The techniques for the dating stuff, you've seen dates on my channel. You've seen, thousands of students reporting back about dates, success. It happened, right? We've all been getting frisky. We've all been having a good time. But we're not going to sit here and you know pick individual bits apart because it's just ridiculous. And again, it's not the focus of what we're doing. The focus of what we're doing is trying to teach you the front end of the process, which is the bit the guys struggle with the most. And again, you know, watching him in action has eliminated all excuses, even from us. Actually, you know, we've had to take our game up.
100%.
Seeing him charge around like a headless
100%.
Russia.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I feel like Cole would do deeps in Africa.
We
had a-
in Africa.
Naughty nomad.
Naughty Nomad, Syrian Winterman abuse. Hey guys, awesome content from Day Game Daily. I'm planning to move to Eastern Europe. Which cities would you recommend? I'd probably recommend coming to Russia, if I'm being brutally honest. It's just a great place to be. Cole would struggle in London. I mean, to be honest, all of us would struggle in London.
Again, it's immaterial. It doesn't matter. Because for a start, he's not in London, it's here. And secondly, as I said earlier, the whole purpose of what we're saying, travel is very much part of the mix. It's part of the lifestyle, it's part of the game. So how any of us would do in London or Washington or I don't know, some other ball breaking sort of city. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
The reason I left London, the main regret I have with this stuff is I didn't leave London earlier. I was charging around London for 3 years on Oxford. It was cheating. If I went abroad or if I got met a girl, not from Day Game, it was a terribly stupid attitude. Because the best experiences, the hottest girls, the craziest times have all been for me traveling the globe. And it's what I love to do. So forget London as a place.
Yeah, I mean, again, AM above, I think, Jason was referring to his comment. He says Cole will get crushed in London. Again, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. That's not the focus of what we're talking about. So what? Who cares, right?
Why would you stay in a city where the results are lackluster and then sit online complaining about being in said city? It makes no sense.
Well, they're just trying to make the point of like, oh, well, you know, you're teaching this stuff, but does it work in this different environment? But who cares?
Comparatively to here, I'd be doing terribly in London, and I'm from London. But the point is, we're not in London. We've chosen,
exactly.
actively chosen to be here, and you can do better comparatively here. Yeah, right. That's good. That's just sensible planning.
Yeah, exactly. It's not
geomax. It makes it sound like you're doing something sinister. Not. It's just common fucking sense.
Yeah, it's not geomaxing. It's common sense.
You get hotter girls here, the opportunity is more fun. You get more value pod approach. You get more value bin and coronate. It's why would you not be here? It doesn't. We're kind of arguing the same point. But it's just that.
You don't have to. You don't win extra brownie points for choosing to play the game on hard. No, do you know what I mean? And this goes back actually to those guys who were giving us criticism the other day for talking about travel. They were sort of saying, "Oh, it's cheating to travel and everything like that." But it isn't because you're not going to get a gold medal, but for staying in London for 25 years and toughing it out in London.
You don't get any points. It's just a stupid mindset. You live once, and you're basically saying, right, I'm a prisoner of geography. Yeah. Where I'm kind of grown up or where I've moved to, then I can never move again. And I disagree with this entirely. We're not saying relocate, but what you can absolutely do is get on a plane and go test somewhere else and just think, oh, actually, you know what? Fuck it. Why don't I just start traveling a bit more? We're not asking you to uproot and move jobs. I mean, to be honest, most people, let's be honest, you can work remotely if you really wanted to. If this was really a big enough issue, you probably would look to relocate somewhere where you're going to have more abundance of people you actually like, rather than toughing out in a city where you're not getting, very good results and you don't particularly resonate with the people. I mean, why would you be there in the first place? I get it, maybe you've set your life up there, but there are other options to that, and the bare minimum you can do is jump on a plane.
But there again, and I mean, ultimately, everyone has to make their own decision about this stuff. It's very personal, but nobody is keeping you, whatever your circumstances now. Nobody's holding nobody's holding a gun to your head and forcing you to be in that circumstance. You do have options. There are other things you can do. Making money online these days is a very doable thing. You don't have to become a dating coach, but there are many things that you can do to free yourself up and travel. If that's something that's a priority,
Great, and this is a great point from Mark. Who cares about London guys in this one of Africa best?
Well, I mean, it's just people come up with this objection like it's a gotcha, but it's just completely irrelevant.
And again, they're focusing on the wrong thing. It's not taking control of their own circumstances. They're trying to pick up what other people are doing. It's like you're missing the point. Your life is ticking by. You're sitting there complaining on the live stream about how you're not getting action, how it's not good for other people to be out. It's so childish. I don't get the mentality of it at all. Question from Steins. Barcelona's a great city. Agreed. Since you guys are loving Russia, are you guys considering learning to speak Russian? Yes. I've been looking at an Italki Russian coach today. So hopefully I'm going to supplement Portuguese. I do one Italki lesson a day for learning Brazilian Portuguese. Hopefully I'm going to start supplementing, not hopefully, I will start supplementing that with a few lessons of Russian a week, maybe 4 or 5, maybe 4 lessons a week, 1 hour. I mean, it costs like $8, right? $35 to speak Russian. Yeah, it is something I'm considering. Any final questions, lads? We've been going for 40 minutes. You know, again, I hope everyone is
The world-class value. But
no, it's been a joke aside. Look, it's fine to raise objections to what we're doing. That's completely acceptable. That's your right as commentators and guys who watch the content to question us to a degree. But we're just trying to put our honest opinion of how we think about the situation. Hence why we're doing a live stream with COL in Russia. This is the life we're living, right? So
yeah, I mean, look, ultimately you might not agree, and that's fine. That's your prerogative. But we are just demonstrating, hopefully through this content, particularly live content, that there is a different way to go about it. You know, you don't have to sit in your hometown and complain and worry about if your draw is exactly the right dimensions and so on and so forth. There are other things that you can do.
Agreed. And under that, of every 20 approaches and 3 score genuine attraction, so I don't see the problem venturing out. No, there's no problem venturing out, and we're not saying stop gaming in London. All we're saying is having myself and particularly having grown up in London and having experience in London and a number of other countries around the world. If you're doing day game, if you're doing cold approach and you want results, you can get more bang for your buck traveling. And if you enjoy the travel aspect, exploring this planet we live on, for me, it's an absolute no-brainer to do so. Are we saying you have to do that? No. Can you make the best of your circumstances wherever you are? Yes. A lot of it's to do with just the attitude you've got to this stuff. And I just feel, you know, a lot of guys commenting online, I just feel you're prioritizing your energy in the wrong spot. You know, people spend all day long trying to shoot people down the internet. It's just not conducive to living a good life. I don't understand.
And all this, I mean, there's a lot of talk here about London, and the reality is people are still going to talks in London. It's not like nobody.
There's still some great girls. It's great. It's an amazing. It's a happening city. It's our homes. You know, we've lived there for periods of our life. I'm in London. You know, we both are, and it's we've got nothing against the place. That being said, if you want to get more bang for your buck, folks, we recommend traveling, and preferably travel to a place where you actually, you know, resonate with the culture and resonate with the look. Right. So if you like blonde hair, blue-eyed girls, go to Helsinki. If you like Russian modeling, come to Moscow. If you like, you know, Brazilian, obviously go to Brazil. It's just a no-brainer. We live in such a fortunate age. If you get on a plane and be anywhere in the world, I don't get why you wouldn't make that decision. And we're not saying necessarily we can't, but at least have a few trips abroad and mix it up a bit, right? Mm. Can we please chat after that? Maybe in the West, especially us guys in Britain, are so fucking fortunate to be able to travel easily. Completely agree, Mark. Us guys in the West don't realise how privileged we are. I completely agree. Most Russians we're bumping into cannot travel, right?
Yeah. They can't travel out of the country, right?
And we're here.
Well, they can actually. There's a few places they can go.
I know, but
they can't go.
Very limited.
They can't go into Schengen. They can't go to Europe or England.
So we're extremely lucky, and a majority of guys are commenting from London. So I can see you're talking about London, right? You're living in London. You have the opportunity that very few other people have to and get on a plane and make it happen, right? And do so, and you will thank us for it once you do it. You'll realise how big the world is, how plentiful opportunities to date around the globe are, and how much you can leverage up by, you want to call it geomaxing, you can do, right? But don't look at it as a bad thing. Look at it as a cheat code, a hack, where you can have an absolutely smoking girl on your arm, whereas maybe back home it's going to be a lot harder to do that. But it's common sense.
It is common sense, but everyone's got their own vision. Everyone's got their own, you know, the idea that they're selling, if you like. And I mean, you've got to think, particularly if you're watching this on James's channel, on Tusk's channel. I mean, his bloody header has got a passport in it, for God's sake. I mean, his whole message all along has been travel, meet girls,
especially, admittedly, for the first 2 years it was London-based content, but for the last 3 years, really, I've just been traveling the globe. That's the lifestyle I live, and everyone that watches the stuff knows that every time we film, when we get in fields or whatever, it's from a different location. So the fact you're on here going traveling shooting is just, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense unless we just capture some black girl characters and talking about black girls. Yeah,
I don't know. It just seems a no-brainer. You know.
I agree. Mr. Cole is lost. Well, no, he's not. He's here. He's been found. AM, that's not more civil society. That's because of what Tom is doing.
I just think lost.
I don't know.
69 viewers.
If Torreira came to London, say he would get nowhere as close as he did when Day Games. You know, not yes, I actually agree, but it's the same with all of us. London has got tougher. It's got harder, and we don't. Me and Troy were talking about it the other day. We don't exactly know why that is, but there definitely was that golden era, wasn't
Yeah.
there? About 7 years ago when I first started. We were doing it at
Yeah.
UP, where it was incredibly easy to get on dates. No one was really doing this. I feel. Maybe not an increase in day game, definitely Instagram culture has got unrealistic expectations for people on the dating market.
Because I was saying actually what it was like about 7 years ago or so, when 7 or so years ago. What it's like here now, it feels a bit like that. You know, you can have all these conversations. You're getting a lot of phone numbers. You're getting a lot of opportunities on dates.
You could be going on a date a day.
Absolutely, you could be going easily, and that kind of used to be the case in London. It doesn't seem to be now. And it's interesting talking to other people, like including Tusk, and finding out that seems to be the case for other people. So sure, yeah, London is, getting tougher. But again, so what? I mean, you have to act accordingly, adapt, right?
Adapt, and it's the whole Darwinist thing of not the most intelligent, it's the most adaptable. So if you sit there in one city complaining, you're not doing that, are you? You're not adapting. You're just going, oh, won't me? Oh, fuck, I can't adapt. You're being very extremely immovable. You're not flowing. You're not changing shape. You're not doing anything. Question to Cole regarding his experience as an Indian guy.
I don't think it as I'm an Indian guy. I'm just thinking that I'm providing the girl an experience. So just assume that you're a cool guy and she will like it.
Yeah. Again, I'm not sure. So much. This guy's put out so much value. He's been really, really good putting himself on camera and being a sport with it. Obviously, we've been doing the live streams, which have been, very raw, very real. We watched. There's no smoke and mirrors to any of the stuff we put out over the last 8 days. So go back through and just rewatch the content if you're confused. But guys have seen him having interactions. Guys have seen him where the girl is clearly interested. Guys have seen him closing. Guys have seen him on instant dates. The fact that people are online going, oh, well, he get blown out in London. I mean, it's completely. I'm almost wringing my hands with. I don't understand the viewpoint some people have. It's just, he's in the place with the world's hottest women getting on dates, and the fact that more people can't kind of see the positive element.
I know.
Unreal.
And somebody else also as well, without raising additional objections, but somebody else said on a comment, oh, people saying, well, it's because of wealth disparity and. Russia's an emerging country and they're beta buxing and all this kind of stuff. But the reality is, we've been in Moscow, where you've got it's the fourth most billionaires in a city on the planet, and we're now in St. Petersburg, which admittedly is not as rich, but it's still, we're not talking about. I mean, there are obviously extremes of poverty here, but in the main, the people that we are talking to are not extremely poor. They have a very good middle class existence. There's certainly no. I mean, how would you counter any objection about women are just looking for money? I mean, it just doesn't come into the equation.
I mean, the problem is, right? It's very easy to sit online and just kind of pick stuff apart when you're an anonymous fake name. Yeah, but again, it comes down to the fact that how many of you guys are actually out there, and I'm not, we're obviously very grateful for the support, but the guys who genuinely support it. They like what we do and stuff. But I just feel there's so many guys out there sitting at home, literally with their dicks in their hands, doing nothing. And it's just like, guys, the point of this stuff is to inspire you to get out of the house. I think you're just missing the point of what's up there.
Or just trying to pick holes in it. Like,
yeah, and you're missing the point of what we're trying to do, which is to inspire you guys to get out of the house. The reason we put out all this content for free, right, and we're never going to charge for it on YouTube, is because we like to inspire guys. And, when we get emails going, oh, you guys really helped me, I got out of the house, I found a girlfriend, or I'm dating on my own terms. That's the stuff that gets us going because we genuinely enjoy helping people. And it just seems like a very defeatist mindset for guys that aren't approaching to sit online going, oh, woe me, it doesn't work because this. It's like, why not just fuck that shit and put that energy into actually just going and speaking to some women until your dating life is a respectable avenue for you to sit in.
But you can tell, I mean, the only reason that people are making those comments is because they feel personally triggered in some way. Because if you didn't have an emotional response, to what's being said here, then you wouldn't bother to comment. Why, why would you? Why would you bother to comment anonymously on something like
just boredom and avoidance, maybe.
Yeah.
Take avoidance. Great comment from Old Life Live. Go and check this channel out. He's a good lad. Really, really good at this stuff, but also just provides a lot of value. Very switched on. Doesn't matter where the sauce you're from. You're dominant. And if you're dominant, you are dominant. When we'll smell it. It's completely true. It's completely true. Exactly this from Mark. I mean, that sums it up as good as it can. Focus, it doesn't matter really where. If Cole gets success in Russia, he's doing it far better than 99% of the guys out there with far more women. Good on him. I agree. And let's be honest, like 99% of people have probably done this week 0 approaches.
Yeah.
0. And that's not, this guy's gone on dates pretty much every day, right?
Every day.
Guy's sitting there just, oh, fuck, I don't want to take action. Fuck, right? I'm just going to sit there complaining. It just seems, I just don't get it. Really. No. I don't want this to turn into some negative like chinwag. Obviously, we appreciate all the support, but those few guys out there, you need to, I think, reassess your priorities about what's important in life. Because unfortunately, you're not immortal and the lights could go out at any second, right? So get on with it. We've made the best of your circumstances. Play the hand you're dealt in life. Very lucky to even be alive. Yes, everything's good. Very good. Final thoughts from this depressing live stream?
Well, I'm going to take the.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say really. I mean, I for one, I've loved the time I spent with Troy here. It's been great having you here. You've inspired us. Regardless of whether you have inspired anyone online, you've inspired us.
But you have inspired many, many people online. We're getting
overwhelmingly
more.
Yeah, no, we're just getting more. It's the standard thing. You focus more on the negative comments, right? And there's always going to be a few trolls to roll for the prop out there. When are you guys going to come to Florida? No time soon, I'm afraid. Not going to happen. Have you tried getting Chris from Good Looking Leads on a stream? Yes, we have, but he's nowhere to be found. Black pill people are just a waste of existence. We only have one life and they've already given up instead of doing something about it. I completely agree, and that's probably me and Troy's exact comments on the black pill. We actually agree that looks do matter, max them out. We agree that money and status matter, make something of it, but remove that non-action taking part and actually be pro-positive and do something about it, right? Because as you said, Leonidas, that's the best summed up thing you can say. You live one life and that's the end of it.
Well, surely the masculine thing is to say, okay, the odds, even if the odds are massively stacked against me, I'm going to keep spinning the wheel. I'm going to keep throwing down the chips and seeing where they fall. Surely, right?
Because like I've met, there's a few guys I've met in my time similar to you, and they're like, they've said to me off camera or whatever, they're like, James, I think you said a similar thing. You're like, I don't give a fuck if I get blown out 100 times in life, because if I meet one girl and I dealt with her, it was worth it. And it's true, you could argue even 1,000 times a row, and then you meet, your future wife or some girlfriend. That was worth it, right? Because what's the other option? Sit there and nothing happens. So you have the status quo, you come up with nothing, you might as well change it, you might as well give it a stab. Because you always feel better about taking the action anyway, don't you?
Yeah. And it's all very well to say, well, it's going to be easier if you are, 6'6" and you've got a Swedish model to play and all the rest of it. Well, maybe so, but so bloody what?
It's not a zero-sum game, is it? You don't have to be DiCaprio to get results. You just have to be slightly better than you were last week. You're in this journey against yourself. That's what people forget as well. Competing against anyone else, it's about you. Are you better than last week? Are you, progressively on that progressive realization to a worthy ideal, i.e., your goal towards maxing out every area you can in this short life we live? If you're not, again, look back at your priorities and look to fix them up. No other thoughts? Any final questions, Mr. Francis? Any final comments?
Well, I mean, we back the drum after really. I think we said what we need to say. No, it's just been awesome hanging out with Mr. Cole. Really.
Very awesome. You've inspired us as people. We're going to stay in touch with you. I hope you guys online that watch this have been watching his progress, or you haven't, and maybe you want to tune back and see these episodes from Russia with Love. It's a playlist on my channel, or head over to Troy's channel. It's all there. Thoughts and all the highs, the lows, the blows, and it's been brilliant. Me and Troy will continue the banter bus from Sochi and see how we go. But yeah, I can't,
I would like to thank James for giving me time, and Troy and James, it's been amazing experience. fire in my heart. Just approaching, just by looking at them, my game improved, and I it's been a blast. And thank you so much, James. And thanks for the
Cheers, man.
appreciation, and thanks for the coaching.
It's been a pleasure, guys. We've been a little bit more, not negative, but we've been a bit ranty because occasionally it needs to be said, like we are, generally speaking, pretty positive and we're always giving people the benefit of the doubt. But when guys are just sitting there stacking up comments, woe me comments, it pisses me. It's not about you even having a go at us. It just pisses me off that you're wasting your time commenting negative stuff when you could be using it for your own benefit in your own life in the right ways. Because if you spend this energy actually going and talking to some people, you'd be in a better position than you are now. It's that simple, right? Yeah. So even if one guy goes out off this live stream and does some approaching, for me, that's success.
Yeah.
So again, comment,
Absolutely.
comment, question, emails, all send us anything you need. We'll see you again from Sochi. We'll be there from tomorrow. Catch you then.